It is now 6:01 on Tuesday, the 11th of May, and I'm calling the Finance Committee meeting to order. Tommy Rashala is here. He just hasn't had a chance to log in yet. First thing on the agenda is the minutes of the meeting from May 6th.
Make a motion that we accept the minutes of May 6th.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? Tamika, there is a change.
Yes.
The select board meeting on Friday the 7th was not to discuss a new date for the town meeting. The meeting on Friday was to discuss the moving of the election. The town meeting gets moved by the town moderator.
Okay, you got it.
Okay, so so would you like to amend your motion for those changes?
Accept the minutes of May 11th?
May 6th.
May 6th as amended.
Second.
Okay. Okay. Any other discussion? Any other discussion? Okay. Roll call vote. Mr. O'Malley.
O'Malley, aye.
Mr. Rashala.
Rashala, aye.
Mr. Purcell. It just went out of my head.
I know, that happens.
Purcell, aye.
And Ms. Narwhal, aye, unanimous to accept the minutes of the meeting. Okay. So the purpose of the meeting this evening is to go through and add back 192,973, which is the cuts that the school gave us very last minute. So I know Ron sent us some changes, but I want to make sure we go through it and make sure that there were some errors that I found in what Ron did, so I wanted to make sure that we were all confirmed and happy with what we thought we should be doing with the money. So, I'd like to start with treasurer and collector. There is $15,000 that we cut from her assistant salary. Ron's recommending it to go back. I know I did the same.
I did the same.
Okay, anybody have any differences on that one?
Nope.
Okay. The town clerk, we had cut $15,000 out of the assistant salary.
You want to do those individually? You're going to just do them all and then vote one vote?
No, we're going to go down individually because there are some problems with his.
Okay.
We're not taking a vote. We're just making sure that no one has any other changes.
Okay.
So $15,000 taken from from the assistant salary. Ron's recommendation was to add it back. I know I have found the same thing. And did anybody
I had the same.
not find that?
Nope.
This was town clerk, correct?
That's town clerk.
Okay.
The next one down on the list is planning board. We had taken out $38,753.50 from the town planner salary. Ron's recommending to put it back in. I know I had found it. Pete.
Yep.
Everybody else find the same thing?
Yep.
We're all in agreement on that one. Okay. The next salaries were the police, the full-time, part-time wages. We had cut $45,000. Ron is recommending putting back in the 45. I know I had done the same.
I did too, but
Yep.
that's putting back 7 part-time police officers, right?
Whatever I don't remember. I think yes.
Okay.
I think that's what it is.
I had the same thing.
So
Whatever the positions were.
yeah, whatever it said on the.
Right.
I think it's 7, but
This
I
was the
don't.
$45,000?
The $45,000.
Budget reduced covers all 7 part-time.
Perfect.
officers.
Okay, good.
Yep. Okay. The fire, we had cut $10,000 out of the part-time wages. Ron's Ron's suggestion as per the fire chief was put $5,000 back in part-time wages and $5,000 back in purchase services.
Is part-time wages the same as on-call wages?
Well, that's pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, should be.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I
think that's what they're referring to it as.
I had the $5,000 back for the wages.
Okay, so, I mean, that's what Seth is telling Ron that he'd like to do. I mean, I had the 10,000 back in for part-time wages, but he's saying put 5,000 back in and then take $5,000 and put it in purchase services.
Well, so I'm not inclined to go with purchase services right now. I mean, we need people first.
But our answer was to our managers anyway, was that we're gonna give them that money and then they're gonna tell us where they're gonna put it. So at this point, instead of going back and having him change it, he's already told Ron that that's what he wants to do with it. So
What was the number out of purchase services before?
we had taken $8,900
Oh, yeah,
out of
okay.
purchase services.
Okay, yep.
But if we put back, see, when I looked at it, I looked at the areas where we took headcount out, areas we took out hours, and then salary increases.
Mhm.
And I was setting a priority for headcount, hours, and then salary increase. I didn't get anywhere close to the salary increases because we didn't have enough, I didn't
Right,
have enough
exactly.
money for it. So I still don't think that we have enough money, or we're gonna be real close if we go with the 5,000 in other services, right?
No, because 10,000 was what we cut from the wages. And if we were to put that $10,000 back in, there was still money left.
Okay, so I got some other stuff that,
Okay?
there's clerical wages in police and,
He,
okay, so I took those and I said, just going off of the
he
impact
didn't,
statement.
yeah, we didn't take any clerical wages. We took out her 2.5,
So that was a salary increase. Okay,
yeah, that $915
right,
was the 2% COLA
okay.
because Chief Monaco made sure that she kept.
Would you have the assistant wages in animal control as salary increases as well?
That is a cut. It is, so.
I'm just trying to, at this point, I'm not trying to jump
No,
ahead.
no.
I'm just trying to figure out,
Animal control. I was looking at that one, was only $648.
48, right?
So.
See, I've already said, I'm not inclined to go with the $5,000 back in the services line.
Well, how much did you give back to?
Just the 5,000 for the
Just five.
salary.
Okay.
I don't know how I came up with that. I just said 5,000. And I didn't know that I didn't know Ron had talked to the police. So I just said 5,000 back.
Okay,
And I got real close to the 192. But there are other things in there that, like that $1,000, $900 in the police clerical wages. Okay,
Yep,
so that comes
she's-
out. That
yep.
gets it easier.
Mhm.
Okay.
so. I know with the numbers that are here, there wasn't room for the 648.21 unless we take part of the 5 from the fire chief.
That's what I was doing. That's what I did to get
Right.
there.
So we just have to, I will highlight that so that we will come back to that
Yeah, please.
momentarily, so that way we know. Okay? What's your next one that you have?
Council on Aging,
Yep.
Wait, hold on now, stop for a second.
Yep,
So on police, you put the 45 back,
yes,
and then on fire, you did the 5 so far
right?
to wages.
I did the 5 and the 5, but
Yeah.
I did the 5 and the 5, which would be the 10 being put
Yeah.
in, but we're gonna have to revisit that because we won't be able to
Okay,
do it.
all right, okay, I just want to make sure we're
Yep,
all on the same
nope,
page
nope.
still.
We are.
We're jumping around talking about other things, so I just want to
It's
make sure.
just the next one down, the animal control officer
Okay.
is the next one down.
So we didn't put that one back in.
Yeah, I did, but we're gonna have to talk about these because it will be over the 192.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay, so. Highway administration. I was kind of hoping Ron was gonna be on so that we could ask him why he didn't recommend putting back the $10,000 of overtime and standby for highway administration.
Yeah, I didn't have that either.
All right. So the next one is Council on Aging, which is 16,921.16, which refunds the outreach coordinator salary.
I had that.
Okay. And then the next one is the library aides, which is 20,808.
I had that as
The
well.
one thing that Ron is missing from his numbers are that when we add the 20,808, we have to increase the library other charges line because that is a calculation. You have to add, you have to take that addition times 0.2345679.
That number has always made me laugh.
Yep. So I did that. So I times the 20,808 times the 0.2345679, and it comes up with 4880.89. That's a requirement. That's a function. We don't have a choice.
So that's an additional 5,000 almost.
Yep. And
Okay.
so with all of those, the only number from Ron's, so if we're gonna do the ACO change, we have to subtract more money out somewhere. I know with just the numbers that he gave us here, plus the 4880 for the library, that leaves 26,753.45 to fund the executive secretarial position for the town administrator. It does not fully fund it.
Okay. So that's a 40-hour position now, right?
I'd have to look back to see. I think it might be only 32
Karen,
Oh,
it's a
really?
32-hour position.
hours. 32 hours a week.
Okay. So
So what
That
are
person
people's,
is currently employed by the town of Rutland.
that person is currently employed by the town of Rutland? She was hired in March.
And okay,
March.
Well, I was,
Go ahead.
are we ready for, I would
Yes,
say
I want
leave,
discussion.
we'd put the money back into the administrator assistant and not in the other location,
What other location?
where you said had to leave it out of.
We don't have a choice. The $4,880 that is short on this sheet, Ron's sheet that he sent us, that's an automatic funding requirement. We can't play with that. That has to go in.
Okay,
You add to this line, that line gets added.
oh, okay, no, I understand that, but you said you were leaving off, was it the animal control extra
Yeah.
time?
And so if we got rid of the animal control officer,
Okay,
the assistant wages, that leaves us 26,753.45 to fund the town administrator secretary.
I'm still stuck with why do we need the purchase services, $5,000 for the purchase services under fire,
Okay,
as
So-
opposed to people. I mean, if I
right,
make
so if
my
you take
choice,
that 5 you're talking about and add it to that 26 and you're close to this number, right?
Yeah.
to do that.
I think that, I would agree with that.
So, but we then still only put back half of what we took out for the fire personnel, correct?
That is
well,
correct.
actually, it'd be like 1/3 because it's 10,000 and 5,000.
Yeah, but if we're just talking wages though, we took
Right.
purely 10 of wages, right?
Right.
We'd only be putting half back.
So our main, I think we were fairly all in agreement that our main idea was to put back people, salary,
People.
leave people.
People and hours.
And we said, so we took 10 in people from the fire and ambulance, but the chief said, I'd rather do it this way and that way. So I'm just looking at these on-call wages.
But that's it, they're on-call wage, so they may not even be used.
They're not reducing, it's not like cutting a job, which the
wouldn't think
other
so.
things
I think
did.
The money's there for, if there's a call, then they pay. I mean, we
But,
could go way over that by, because there's a lot of calls.
Right.
but this is a 20% reduction in the 10,000 is a 20% reduction in on-call firefighter wages, resulting in delayed response times. Reduction in this on-call staff could potentially make them find somewhere else to go. So we got to kind of play it off. I get it. I'm just saying.
Right. And all of that having been said,
Yeah.
anything that doesn't go back puts people in the same position. They're going to go
Yeah.
look for some other job.
I mean,
If that's part-time, well, that's not full-timers.
I
No,
agree.
I understand that.
So they said, so if we put the 5,000. So are we as a committee saying that now we're going to tell the department heads where they put these figures? We're not letting them, they're not letting them tell us. We're gonna say, not only do you have 10, you're gonna have to put this 10 here, or you've got the 17, you have to put it here.
No, I'm not, I guess what I'm saying is there's $10,000 that's requested to go back to the fire department.
Mhm.
I'm saying we give, that would be $5,000. And the other $5,000, maybe that funds that 4880.
Yeah, this is based on their recommendations to us. I mean, that's what we own by, right?
Right?
I get it. What I'm trying to say is, if we give back 5, that's fine. But are we gonna say to all of these people, when we give them back these numbers, are we gonna say, you're allowed to tell us where you're gonna hit it?
Well, you know,
We're
honestly,
agreeing to the numbers going back to what they recommended to us just now. Well, you just read them, where they said they were gonna do them.
That's where Ron made the suggestion, and these are where, and fire department said that he'd want to move 5 from the part-time wages. If 10 was to go back, 5 would go to part-time wages and 5 would go to purchase service.
so if the fire chief wants to be able to say, okay, I'm not going to use the 5,000 for the part-time, I'm going to use it for purchase services, I think that's up to him. As it would be for Joe if he was trying to do something in his budgets as well. I'm just saying that if our, no, and it's just, it was my objective that's coming in here with that bias.
I get it.
I'm just looking and saying, I'd like to be able to see if we could maintain the headcounts, give as much of the hours as we could, and salary increases we could, not possible. So, you know, that's all I'm trying to get to, is where we can get to the
Okay,
192.
so,
I don't think we want to tell them where to go. I think we just want to give them 10 grand. But I don't understand.
See, I guess, Darren, I don't want to give back the 10,000.
Well, I think if we, what's been kicking around in my head here for a couple of minutes since we started talking about this was that the outreach worker, the positions that we cut were people that would be no longer or would go.
Right.
And if I understand those $10,000, that's not eliminating anybody.
Right.
That's just rolling the dice on whether or not we have money to pay if we have a lot of calls,
That's right.
correct?
we do not have enough firefighters on staff to handle a fire in town. We have to rely on on-call firefighters, correct? Am I wrong?
Correct,
So. if-
when they happen.
I get
And
it.
that's what on-call means, on-call.
Nope, I get it. I just want to make sure that everybody's under the same impression that we don't have enough full-timers to handle everything. So we need
And
He's
nor are
on
we,
call.
nor are we going to any time in the
Precisely.
long distant future.
Precisely. So that's the only thing. And when you read his impact statement, its loss of staff will affect the town's ISO rating, resulting in every residential and commercial fire insurance premium to increase 8%. So
I think it's a question that we gotta ask the fire chief.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna change. Well, and never mind.
What do you
I'm
think?
saying-
Howard?
No, I think what Peter just said earlier was exactly
Okay.
correct.
then we do,
We're trying to find the numbers to fit right back
That's it.
in the right places
That's
here.
it.
yep, nope, that's fine. Then we do the 5 for him. Because that's,
We'd rather have the spigot open and fill every one of these full.
That's right. Which is another conversation we have.
Right.
okay. So you want that $5,000 to go to the executive secretary? That still won't fund her whole, but it'll come closer.
So with the 4,880 we added, taking the 5,000 out of the fire, where are we? What's the total that we are at with the other things that we agreed to? I don't have a
Mhm.
spreadsheet.
Don't worry, I got it. That's why I do it this way, because it's easy. We have $4,820 left to spend,
Left to spend. And that,
So that means we can move that money.
On top of what you were just saying, that the 5 and the other number?
So
does that include the executive secretary salary or not at all?
I funded her for the 26,753. So
Okay.
here's the thing. If we don't fund her at all, hold on.
Yeah, we're way over. We're way under. We're gonna be about $2,700 under, 27,000 under.
That means we have 31,573.45 left to spend on her, which will not fund her fully.
But it's close.
It's
So
still,
at that point there.
Yep.
Should we take some of our money from reserve fund or things like that and make her whole?
You can't, you're not gonna do that from the reserve fund till you get down to the other end of the budget.
Yeah.
Towards the end of the year, and if they're short, then
Well, we gotta be able to we transferred money to free cash, right?
we could take it from free cash.
we could do
We
that.
could do that. So we could definitely do that so that we could fund her fully if that's what we want to do. Is that what we want to do?
How much free cash were we using? I mean, I know we started with 120, but
Yeah, then it went and then it's back.
With our, hold on, I don't remember because it's
I
gone
know,
up and
it's-
down and up and down and up and down. We put $35,000 back in, so we could take the difference from there, and that works, and it's $1,701.51.
let's do that.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Well, all right.
Nope, this is the time for discussion.
And then I would like to ask, at one of our impact statement meetings,
Mhm.
the highway superintendent said there was some dire cuts and he didn't want to do it. I remember there was a number there that was gonna upset the cart. I don't know, was it 100 grand or 10,000? Is there something we should be?
There's a little difference there, Darren.
There is $10,000 in his on-call and
10,000.
overtime that was not replenished, and it wasn't replenished by, that was the thing that I was playing with, is should we give some of that back, but I don't
But an
know.
overtime account is for overtime that you may or may not use. Hopefully, I mean, I know there's a lot of times they use a lot of overtime because there's breaks and repairs, et cetera. But overtime is something that's maybe or maybe not being used. And that, again, to me, we'd address that as we get down the road if he's coming up short there.
Out of the reserve.
Whatever
only
we
have
can do with
25
him.
grand in the reserve.
I
And let me
understand.
tell you, if we're only funding $5,000 for the fire department, if there is, God forbid, an overabundance of calls, we will use that up. We will use it up for this. So just know
Right.
that 25 grand
Yeah.
goes very quickly.
No, and I understand that. But how do we know what's going to happen? We don't.
No.
So we just, with the best information we have, when was the last time that we had any kind of situation like that that required an excessive amount, $25,000 worth of coverage? I just
Luckily, we haven't the last
see,
year
and
or
that's,
so.
and that's
The
the
last
point.
couple of years we haven't, but we've
Right.
also,
We could, but
yeah, you never know.
if things got that bad, we'd have to go get a town meeting and go get it
That's
out
it.
of the reserve fund. I mean,
Yeah.
out of the stabilization fund or
That's right.
something. If we had to, we
So,
gotta pay our bills.
I mean, this is not a science here. This is an art form that we're trying to work with here.
Mhm.
You know that as well as anybody.
mhm. Okay. Any other discussions?
Nope, not for me.
So we've basically, we've taken a tact where with that $192,000, we have replaced people, positions to the best of our ability.
Right.
And we come pretty darn close to doing most all of it.
Right.
Um,
And the only,
And
yeah, there's nobody we left out.
No, what we didn't do is we didn't put raises back in
We didn't put raises and we didn't do the assistant wages. But again, that's just an assistant and that's only when she's not available and all that kind of stuff. So I think that's kind of like the
that's the
overtime. If we're not-
648.
Yeah, if we're not touching overtime, then I think that's kind of how we have to look at it, which
Okay.
I get. It's not optimal, but we don't have enough money to be optimal.
So
Do.
What are you thinking, Darren?
No, I don't.
So if town meeting were this Saturday, we have a balanced budget to present.
We do.
Well, it's a reduced balance budget.
But it's still balanced.
That's too
Right.
bad.
It is
And it's
reduced, but
got
it's-
no-
Right at this moment in time until the school does something else.
And it's got no potential bailout from an override because there is no override
That's
Correct.
As of
At
right
this
now.
point,
As of right
At
now.
this point, right.
until like there will be, but
Oh, no, there was discussion that there could potentially be another one, depending upon what the select board decides to do.
Well, honestly, the people that I talk to, and again, I'm not normally one to walk around town and talk to people, the people I talk to around town, they didn't feel that they knew what was in that override, the request for the override. They were wondering why it's still on the ballot. If we're moving the town meeting, why the hell is that still on the ballot? Excuse
because
me.
the election was.
Because you have to have it on a ballot.
I understand that,
No, right.
but I guarantee it, that they went in thinking, I don't know, I'm voting no.
Well,
I would like someone to clarify when exactly the town meeting is. Every time I pick up the paper or read something or look online, it's a different day. It's either the 5th or the 12th. If somebody wants the 12th or somebody wants the 5th, clarify how we're gonna get to one of those 2 days.
it was the
No.
12th, and then as of Friday at the select board meeting, it was thrown out there that 30 days moved from, so right now, if it's the 12th, Randy moves it to the 5th, and then he has to do another one to move it to the 12th. Whereas if we move it to the 5th, it's only 30 days.
Well,
So,
My problem with that is, Karen,
I-
and I'd like to state my problem,
yep,
is that Randy Jordan, the moderator, wrote that it was gonna be the 12th.
Yep.
Is it the 12th or is it the 5th?
You
And
can
who
take that,
decides?
you can take that up with the chairman of the Board of Selectmen who brought it up on Friday. The whole meeting was a discussion over when the meeting would be rather than whether or not we were moving the election. There was no discussion on whether we were moving
Well, there was a very little.
when I brought it up.
But wait, so let's go back a step here or two, right? What I read on an email that the legality of it was that Randy could move the meeting based on his making an interpretation of whatever from May 8th, 30 days out, we're on to June 5th.
Right,
So that's the first step. So that's why June 5th is there.
right.
And then what he would have to do then is, and June 5th, he'd have to then take and declare that he's moving the meeting one more week to the 12th.
It's both been signed, but yes.
It's
that's-
what?
It's both of them have been signed, but yes, that is. the
Well,
case.
no, I'm not, whether they've been signed or not, that's
Yep.
not what I'm saying.
Yes,
He couldn't go more than 30 days.
Right.
That's how we got to the 5th.
Mhm.
And then he was going to move it again. And apparently, as you just stated, the selectmen did something on Friday to say that they wanted to stay on the 5th.
Mhm.
Correct?
that is correct.
Okay, so that answers Darren's question.
That doesn't answer the question.
It
That
does answer the question because that's how we got to those two dates.
Yes. but I
Based
don't-
on what happened.
but I
Even
don't-
though Randy maybe have signed 2 letters or whatever he's done, that's
ultimately,
how they got there.
But what Darren wants to know is what date firmly is it going to be? And there is
I-
no firm.
But who knows that then? So we know it's the 5th right now.
Yes. Go ahead, Leah.
Thanks, guys. It's Leah. Can you hear me?
Hold on one second. Go ahead.
It's Leah. Can you hear me okay?
Now we can.
Okay, sorry. I don't know. When I talked to Ron yesterday, because I had people asking me about the date, and I asked Ron, and I got the impression Ron was hoping to get feedback from FinCom tonight as to what your preference would be. There was definitely a lot of discussion Friday night at our select board meeting as to moving it to the 5th. But that was definitely, it was not voted on and it was not finalized. So I don't know if Ron reached out to anybody. I don't think he's on the meeting tonight to get FinCom's opinion. That was the impression that I was under as of yesterday.
Do we have a need to extend it out? Does FinCom have a need to extend the timeframe out from the 5th to the 12th?
No, we do
Not at this point. We can do it this Saturday with you, just based on these numbers you just have put out.
We can't, we have to post.
No, I know we can't. I'm just saying,
No,
if we
I
could,
think we're set.
We
Like Donna
could.
just said, I don't want the confusion with,
Correct.
my point is the confusion within the town.
right.
Personally, I'm gonna go right on the record, get it done on the 5th, get it over with, let's move on.
Amen.
Do we?
But I just want to stop the damn confusion. And if it's on the 5th, where is it gonna be? Make a decision and stick with it. That's all I want. Not,
I was hoping to have this discussion with the town administrator. He did not tell me he was not going to be attending this meeting this evening, so I'm
So,
kind of.
Jerry, did he, one of the things he sent out said he had an issue he had to address.
so,
That was Thursday. He would be making our meeting on Thursday for a family emergency.
No, that's not the way I read it. I read it for tonight.
so should we, like we did the other day, take a informal vote about our preference?
nope. I don't think we need to commit. Let's let them run with it.
Yeah, we don't control
Well,
the
but-
day of the town meeting, but
Leah was saying that she thought that the select board was looking for the FinCom to be able to
okay.
recommend.
So we can make a motion tonight that based on, if we're comfortable and we're gonna vote on those numbers,
There you go.
then we're ready to go forward with this budget presented to the town meeting. And we're ready to go whenever that date is final or
Whatever that
solidified.
date is acceptable to us.
Okay.
So
And we
here's,
would rather not have it outside.
okay, so hold on one second. The 12th, Wachusett Regional High School is not available.
Okay,
So
so we're back to the 5th. We're really. at the-
That's fine.
So I'm just telling you, that was the one email that we received from Anita saying that they're not available on the 12th. It's booked. So we wouldn't be able to use Wachusett Regional High School.
It's fine.
So I need to know that we're going to have a quorum. Ted and David are unavailable. So
On the
I need,
5th.
on the 5th. If it's gonna be the 5th, I need to know if we're gonna have a quorum,
I'll be there.
okay? And Tommy, you'll be there.
The
So there
5th,
will
I'll be there. The 12th, I won't be there.
Okay. So
So we have a quorum.
we have a quorum. And I will, I can send a note to Ron and let him know that we will have a quorum and,
We could chip in for a hotspot for Ted to have a hotspot wherever he's at.
That'd be a satellite phone. I don't know if we
Satellite,
can afford those. I'd rather be with Ted's going. I know that little pond.
so I can definitely let him know, I can let him know that, but yeah.
Good.
I will, all right, so,
And at that,
and then Tommy, on the 12th, you're not available.
At this point in time, I would not, I don't think I'm gonna be around on the 12th.
I don't think David mentioned that he may not be available on the 12th either.
No, Dave said well, it's not important. You're gonna be available. I gotta just make sure that we have a quorum for the town meeting. That's all I'm worried about. Okay.
I will be there on the 12th. If that's how.
so, okay.
All right, so I will send a note to Ron to let him know that we're gonna vote on this in 2 seconds and we'll get that squared away and we'll send that off to him and tell him that this is what we're gonna do. And that we will have a quorum for the 5th and we believe we will have a quorum for the 12th.
I wouldn't even,
But we need to know in short time frame. We do not want, I don't want this lingering on, not knowing.
So let's stick with the 5th then. and
let's
not-
stick with the 5th and not
Right.
put any confusion in it.
Right,
Well, only primarily because the high school's on.
correct.
There's gonna be confusion. It's just not with us. But
Right.
yes, there will be confusion. Okay, so,
I will make a motion that the finance board recommends, finance committee recommends that the 5th, June 5th.
Can I just say something?
Go ahead, John.
Can we vote on the budget numbers and stuff that we just talked about?
yes,
And then let
Okay,
Darren
all
make
right,
that
that's
motion
fine.
Yep.
after that?
okay. So here are the numbers, guys. Town administrator, executive assistant salary, 33,275. Treasurer collector, assistant salary, $15,000. Town clerk, assistant salary, $15,000. Planning board, town planner salary, $38,753.50. Police, full-time, part-time wages, $45,000. Fire, part-time wages, $5,000. Give me a minute, it's getting there. It's a little slow. Council on Aging Outreach Coordinator salary, $16,921.16. Library aid wages, $20,808. And library other charges, $4,880.89. That and taking part of, so $1,700 more of the free cash that you guys know. what we're gonna do. So that gets us to the 192,937 that the school gave us.
Good.
So I would take a motion to accept that as a slate.
I'll make a motion that we accept these additions back to the budget.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Any discussion? Okay, roll call vote. Mr. Ross,
Ross, aye.
O'Malley, aye.
Rushala, aye.
Purcell, aye.
and Narwhal, aye, unanimous. Okay. Now go ahead, Karen.
You got the floor, Blood.
I would like to make a motion that the finance committee recommends,
No, just states to the, whoever.
the finance committee.
Yeah.
I don't know how we want to say this, guys.
That we feel we've got, where the budget is set, and we're ready to go
Yeah.
forward to town meeting.
Yes. I would like to make a motion that we state to the town administrator that the finance committee has a balanced budget as of tonight, and we are ready to go forward with the town meeting, and we like the June 5th date. How's that?
Yep.
Does that
It's-
work?
Yeah,
It
but
would be the town administrator and town moderator.
Town administrator and moderator,
Well, Board of Selectmen and moderator, I would say.
and all of them, whoever. Let's put them all in there.
Yeah, it's the town moderator's job to move the town meeting. Lauren
Correct.
Goldberg said that
Correct,
3 times.
correct.
So instead of administrator,
I'm
it's
probably
moderator.
killing her.
Yeah,
at the
the
town.
administrator just does whatever the selectmen want him to do, really.
Tamika, she's in there, right? Is that Tamika?
Yeah, Tamika's not there. She had another
Who's
meeting.
doing notes?
She will watch this and take notes.
All right, well, I butchered that, but okay.
Okay,
Second,
okay, so I guess I don't think we need an official motion for this, to be
We
honest
just
with
need
you.
a,
I just think that will just, if it's acceptable to all of you, I will send a note to Ron and CC Randy and let him know that we would request that June 5th be the date of the town meeting held at Wachusett Regional High School. That's what,
That's his motion and seconded, and I think that's a motion from the committee that we're all agreeing to it, so then you can go ahead and do that.
okay, I guess, but it's, all right.
all right, well,
We
can
can
we,
do
all
that.
right,
We can
let's
do
go
that. I
back
just
one
don't-
step. But
Yeah.
before can we make a consensus? Can we have a vote of consensus?
You got the motion on the floor and it was seconded. Yeah, let's vote, and then we could, that's the
That's it.
consensus, it's
Okay.
done.
Okay.
Go ahead. I don't think we need a motion, but that's all right. Go ahead. So take a vote. I don't care.
okay,
I've beaten
Ross,
this-
aye.
I've beaten this to a dead horse, so.
O'Malley, aye.
Rushala, aye.
Purcell, aye.
Narwhal, aye.
Excellent.
All right. So,
For the topic of can we have open discussion
yeah,
now?
yes, you can.
I think we need to have a meeting, we can skip for Thursday. I don't know how many, unless something significant comes up where you feel, Madam Chairperson,
Karen's just fine.
no, well, I'm trying to make you.
We're
feel
being
better.
formal here.
Karen's just fine.
Karen, I think we should, unless there's something significant that comes up between now and June 5th, we should plan a meeting a week before June 5th to just go over everything and make sure we have our ducks aligned and everything else.
The week before, like that Thursday, the 3rd, or would you like to have it Thursday, the 27th of May? That's Memorial Day weekend, Thursday, so I just want to make sure everybody's
No,
aware.
Thursday, the 3rd, or Tuesday, the,
The 2nd,
yeah.
Tuesday the 1st, excuse me, I'm not the smartest.
Would that be better? You know, we should have one meeting before.
So why don't we plan on June 1st? And then God forbid we need it on Thursday, we can have it on Thursday.
Right.
How about that?
And if something significant comes up,
I will warn you, Tuesday, June 1 is a very heavy meeting night.
Okay.
Select board is meeting, Concom is meeting, I don't need to know how many other boards are meeting. So I'm not saying it's not feasible.
Yep.
I'm just saying that's a very busy meeting night, and I don't know about RCTV support for that meeting.
Well,
Well,
thank
we
you.
gotta have our meeting, so. it
Well, we
doesn't make
have,
it-
we have the Zoom, so that's not gonna be an
Right,
issue.
right.
We've got that. So I'll plan on June 1st,
And, June 1st.
and then God forbid we need it for the 3rd.
Correct.
So I'll probably have her do June 1st and 3rd, and we can cancel them when we
Right.
don't need them.
And then you're gonna have the meeting set up for before the town meeting like we normally do.
Yes, what
just a
time?
little before, right?
Half an hour before, or
Half an hour, or
45.
do we want longer? I've met everything from an hour before to a half an hour before to
Well,
whatever.
what do we think we need to do? I agree with you. Could be
We
45 minutes.
could know on the 1st, Tommy, would that be good? We could get
Well-
that date on the 1st, or do you want to do
As
it
long
now?
as you got, what, 48 hours
There would
supposed
be
to?
time at that point to get it there.
Okay,
so.
but that's what we're planning on. The only thing I'm saying, that's what we're planning on, so that if we have any other last minute things,
Let's
if
hope
we
not.
have to, well, we still have to go over the motion stuff that night. It depends who's there.
So
And then-
why don't we say now an hour And on the 3rd, we can decide whether or not it's a half hour, an hour.
Yep, that's a good idea.
It reserves it for them.
Good idea.
Tom, I've never sat on this side of the town meeting. What do we generally?
You're gonna have to
talk about
behave, you're gonna have to behave yourself on that side.
So
have to behave
first
yourself.
things are you have to get dressed up. Suit and
Yeah.
tie.
That's nice.
Mhm.
You're just ditching us all over.
Okay,
And
Nothing.
no
We're
swearing.
supposed to be.
that's a
meeting
fine.
last
I
week.
don't swear all the time.
Last year was, it's no big, it's just so we can go over who's gonna either read the recommendations.
And it's all
or-
gonna just depend
No.
upon what we're allowed to
Right.
do, because we don't
Correct.
know what the rules are gonna be yet.
Yeah, because last year was completely different what we've done before, so.
Right. Okay, so I've got it that I will tell Tamika to set us up for a meeting on June 1st, June 3rd, and to set it up for 1 hour before the town meeting on the 5th, and we could always change that on the 1st if we had to.
Correct.
Okay, so that means that we don't have any meetings for what, 2 weeks?
What?
Unless
What the hell am I gonna do?
there's something significant comes up that we.
Yeah,
need
unless
to
something
do.
comes up that we've got to deal with.
You had to leave that in there? I was all excited that I had 2 weeks
I
free.
know.
Oh, I think you probably will have 2 weeks free, but
All right, so I will take care of all of that. I'll get this off to Ron.
No, hopefully we do have to meet because the school's gonna reduce the number even more. We can
Oh,
put
Tom,
more money back in their
That'd
other.
be terrible.
Right.
Princeton's meeting is the 15th, so that's, I see that sign when I'm driving home, so that's.
is Paxton before us still?
No, Paxton moved theirs till late in June. I just don't remember when exactly.
Okay.
They were the first ones to move theirs.
And Holden is before or after us?
Oh, I don't remember.
I don't
I
know.
had them all memorized and
It's all been all over the place, yeah.
Holden is a week from Monday.
so it's,
This coming.
it's this coming Monday,
This
because
coming
it's
Monday.
not, it wasn't the 10th, it's the 17th.
Right.
That's what I had in my head, but I'm like, I couldn't remember if it was that or doctor's
Do
appointment.
they have an election yet?
Yes,
We all had an election.
All 5 towns have an election.
Okay, same day.
yes, there's.
So, and they didn't have a override in their ballot.
I don't believe
Holden
so.
did not.
Don't believe so.
Can I ask a question?
Certainly.
Someone had mentioned warrant articles and that stuff. Does,
I'm sorry, there's a note from Leah that says Sterling has not yet had their election.
Okay,
There are no overrides anywhere but Rutland this year for public towns.
thank you, Leah.
what was I starting to say? Oh,
The motions.
the motions. Do the motions change because the numbers have changed, and do we need to go through and do our favorable, unfavorable again?
The recommendations?
Recommendations.
Okay, so
Did I
let,
make any sense?
yes, it did.
Okay.
So here's the question. Do we, as a finance committee, think that due to the changes in the numbers that will be specifically in the motions, do you think that's going to change our favorable or unfavorable recommendations?
I don't think so.
So we probably
I don't think so. I mean, for me, I don't think so. I mean, about the only thing, it's just the dollars and cents that have changed.
Right. So,
Hold on. Fourth one over from the right.
I can't tell if this is on or off.
Above the 0 and the 9.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tom, your microphone's on.
Yeah, that's.
I know, I'm trying to get back to where I was at here. Sorry.
That's okay.
There you go, you
It's
got
all
it,
set
buddy.
See? Ted's a big help because he tells the kids all the time it's the fourth button from the right. As long as you know your right from your left, you're all set.
So we're in a situation now where we have changes. Well, so the changes that we made make a change to basically one warrant article. The school makes a change to one warrant article, right? Now, are there any other changes in there to the warrants that are
We've
affected
got-
by anything we've
We've
done?
got, I don't have them in front of me, guys.
No, but
sorry.
I'm just saying, we had the municipal budget that we
We
had
have the municipal budget, we have.
and the school budget.
Yeah, and I don't know now, the warrants, I don't know what's gonna be written because I don't know what the select board's going to do regarding an override, so they're gonna have to rewrite them depending upon, because all of them said contingent upon a 2.5 override,
Right.
and that's now done.
So they're going, okay.
So I don't know what their plans are, so
Well, that,
there is that potential that the select board could put on a 2.5 override, and we would have to meet to add that money in, I don't know.
Okay,
but they would just leave that wording out of the motion when, from,
Right.
there's the article that was posted, you would leave that subject to the 2.5, or you'd leave that out of the motion.
That's correct. But if they do put on another override, then we would have to we'd have to come in and do,
We'd have to
Another
do another contingency budget.
yes.
Right.
Well,
It's still not gonna change
It's not gonna change the motion.
the.
Right.
well,
We
so
already have the contingency budget.
if they do,
No, we don't, because the contingency budget we had was adding back 500,000, and it wouldn't be a $500,000 override from the discussion that happened on Friday.
see that little kid out there? Tom?
They were pretty negative about that.
I have no idea.
He's fast. Good looking, fast.
so I think our meetings on the first part of June will help us deal with those
The only
things.
thing would be is I'll keep an eye out to see what the select board does, and if they do, then we'll have to meet again, but we'll
Okay.
figure that all out.
Karen, it's Leah. I have a quick question, if I may.
Sure.
Thank you. I was just curious. I missed the beginning part of the meeting I was on, but getting situated. And I can go back and watch. But does FinCom have any feeling is an override necessary? I mean, I personally, as a resident, would just like to have no FinCom's leaning one way or another, not as a select board member. And maybe that's not appropriate, and that's fine if that's the way FinCom feels. But just if the board, yeah.
I think the best thing to say is that the budget does have cuts to town departments in different line items. But it's not for us to say whether or not a 2.5 override would be necessary. There are cuts that will be happening. There are, we
Cuts
did
in
not.
salaries
Yeah,
that,
there were no
Raises,
raises, no
salaries, and things
steps.
like that.
There's cuts to expense items that will hurt the town, but
Don't have a heart attack in a snowstorm.
That's right.
so I guess, Leah, this is Darren. I think that's gonna be a decision that between you and the town administrator, my thought is that if you guys feel the need to make whole the people's increases that were cut, and this basically is a level funded, then it was cut. It
yeah, it wasn't
trimmed
level-
back.
yeah,
It was
it
never
wasn't
level
funded.
funded. It was trimmed back right from the start. So I guess my point is, make it long and short, is if the town administrator and the selectmen feel that they want to go back to raises and things like that, the little step raises and things like that, that everybody lost, and I don't mean to trivialize it by saying little, then that's a decision we could all move forward with based on your guidance. That wouldn't be anything we would recommend at
Okay,
this
but
point.
it was basically, and I think I heard this, it's a balance, you have a balanced budget right now, and that's the main thing. It wasn't trying to balance it with still like a $400,000 or $500,000 struggle. So,
Yes.
thank you.
Can I make a comment?
Sure.
It's a balanced budget right now, but it's severely reduced across the board.
Mhm.
And again, we haven't given the employees that deserve their step raises and deserve their cost of living increases. And we keep doing this every year because of the school budget. So I think the answer to the question is, at some point, we're going to need an override. If we're going to
make everybody. whole.
make everybody where we should make them,
But
but we can't do that. I mean, right at this point, we've got it so that we can at least move forward, but some point, we've got to be fair and justified to those employees that we keep cutting money from.
so we went to the electorate and we asked them, the town asked them for an override and they said no. Do we know what the vote was? Do we know what the,
Yes, it's
2 to
posted-
1.
It's posted on the website.
is it?
Yeah, but there was also a recommendation from the select committee that the selectmen that went out that said, vote this down. It's no longer really
Okay.
valid.
All right, but
So
I'm still,
I don't think it's fair to say that that is the outcome had that not happened.
Correct.
So I guess
okay,
for a discussion while Lee's still listening in here. Right now, we took about, am I correct in saying there's about a $400,000 haircut because of the difference in the school? Right now,
It's a little
from
more
where
like
we
three,
started?
I think.
Yeah, it's like 3-ish, but I don't know. But the problem is the budget started as level funded, not level service, and then cuts were made from there. We have made positions whole without raises, without steps. But there are cuts to the budget.
Right. And plus,
I mean,
the override that we were talking about was the 400,000,
correct.
which would put us in a pretty solid position.
Yeah.
And then the select board made it 5. They made it even
Mhm.
greater so that people are going to look at it more unfavorably. And then I agree with Pete said earlier, that it needed to be explained more. People, if you don't know what you're voting on, you're not going to vote for it.
Too risky.
which is the reason why we were all the same, that we wanted the town meeting before the election moved till after the town
Right.
meeting.
That's right.
And then the school comes and changes their numbers, which confuses it even more
Right.
So,
at the last minute.
That's right.
So the long and the short of it is, yes, we have a balanced budget, but there's still a significant amount of money that doesn't make everybody whole again, from where they once were. Does that explain it, Leah?
Yep, perfectly. Thank you. I appreciate it. And I appreciate having that feedback from you guys. I missed it around the first round. So I just wanted to not force you guys into another meeting, but also make sure that anybody that's watching has a sense as to where FinCom is coming from also. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
No problem.
Before the latest round of cuts, it was at 600,000 something. The term, any cuts beyond this will be devastating. And those were the ones that Ron said, I'm not making them, you make them.
right,
Yeah.
exactly. And we did.
And we've been able to put back some of that, but certainly not all of that. I would think the input of the department heads would be something that the decision makers on an override would want to have as to, I mean, there some DPW, fire, police are probably all walking a pretty thin line going in the next year.
So my thing would be is, I would assume that the impact statements for the lines that didn't change tonight are still accurate.
Correct.
So I would say I would go in and make those changes to the impact summary to post back up on the website. And if you wanted to do the same for your PowerPoint, we could get that posted.
Yeah, and pull out the language on the override.
Right, because at that point, we can let the people know where we're at.
Yep.
Is that acceptable to everybody here?
I would make a motion that we support that, to change those things and get them back out there as soon as we can.
Yep.
Second.
All right, so let's, everyone just speak up and say yes, no, whatever. I need to hear that so we can get it all squared.
Ross, yes.
O'Malley, yes.
Rochelle, aye.
Purcell, aye.
Narwhal, aye. Okay, so we'll get those two things squared away. I can probably do the impact statements tomorrow night.
I don't know where else to go with it. I mean, we're not gonna recommend an override. That wouldn't be our position,
No.
but the selectmen certainly can do whatever they want and we can go from there. Is that a correct statement?
Yes.
Okay.
So,
I I appreciate that. Sorry, Karen, if I may.
That's all right.
No, it's just,
I just wanted to say I appreciate that. I mean, I know it's ultimately the selectman's decision, but just hearing that little bit of conversation, I was going to go back and watch the beginning of the meeting also, but I appreciate that. So thank you.
Not a problem.
I agree with Tommy's statement 100%. So at some point, we have to either bite the bullet or something has to significantly change, or we keep hurting the people, like Tommy says, the people that do a lot of work for this town.
Okay.
Right?
So we need to have a conversation. Now, we can't do anything about it here, and the chair last week suggested that I talk to the Board of Selectmen, the chairperson there, and ask about the mechanism of the agreement between the town and the Wachusett Regional School District. When that conversation, when that connection happens, we're sort of allowing the school district to be the tail that wags the dog.
Correct.
And I don't think we should do that.
Right.
I think we should establish, the town, this is not the FinCom, but the town should establish a ratio of spending that is constant, and that the school committee, in their presentation to the towns, all 5 towns, should come in with a balance to that recommendation. And then that would allow the town to be a little bit more planful in how it goes ahead and it operates its budget.
Right. And that's not going to happen because it's not in the agreement with the schools. So they're not going to worry about doing that because they don't have to.
Right.
Well,
So what Ron recommended several times that we were talking, which is in fact what has to be done, you either have to get them to sit down at the table and renegotiate that agreement
Right,
and put something like that in there,
right.
or you have to say to them what he also said was, look, we're backing out of this district and we're going to do something on our own. Now, does that make, I'm not saying that's the right thing to do,
That's the
but
alternative.
that's what you got to do
That's
in
the
order to
alternative.
get this straightened out, because it can't keep going on.
So the question,
Mitch Rossetti
Yeah.
is going to the meetings and is speaking on behalf of the Board of Selectmen with the school, the review committee on the Wachusett District Agreement. So
Okay.
that's who's going to those meetings.
Do we know how does he come back with any reports or anything?
I listen to the meetings, but that would be best to have, I don't want to paraphrase for what he,
so do we have, maybe Leah has it, but do we have Mitch's select board email? I'd like to send him a note.
it's probably on the town
Town
website.
website.
Is it
On the
there?
website.
Okay.
Plus a
I'll
lot of
put together a
Ron-
note and send it
plus
off
a
to him.
lot of Ron's emails come to the select board and the finance committee. So,
Okay.
Yeah, respond.
Well, I don't want to send it to, I don't want to be a
No, but what I'm
broadcast.
saying, you could copy it from there.
Okay,
That's what I'm saying.
got it. Okay,
That's what I'm saying.
all right.
So the selectmen don't have.
Yeah, but
any
why
insight
wouldn't,
about
why
that
wouldn't
yet?
you want to send it to the select board and the finance board? So as a group, have the letter.
Well, I want to send it to the person who's having the conversation. So I want to send it to Mitch. And then I would send it to us as
Okay.
just a courtesy.
Because then some of us could sign on and say, we 100% agree with your,
I wouldn't
Right.
discourage that at all.
next.
I'd like to make a motion that we adjourn
A second.
until June 1st.
Until June 1st or until another time when was needed.
Or until, unless something else comes up.
Unless something significant.
Okay.
O'Malley second.
Okay, go ahead.
Ross, aye.
O'Malley, aye.
Rochelle, aye.
Purcell, aye.
Narwhal, aye. Okay, 7:05, we're adjourned.